Hi, this is Lori.
And I'm Agent Shelby today.
We are with Heroes Character Rental Service, and today we are reviewing, can you guys guess?
Endgame's Avengers
Endgame. And we're here in our Avengers Shield Armored Tactical Vehicle.
Yes.
Especially, and actually, you want to tell them why you have this vehicle right now?
Sure. Actually, we have the vehicle. It is a Mercedes Sprint, and it's a 15-passenger, 12-passenger. Mm-hmm. And what we have it for is we have a gentleman out here from India, and we are taking his family around, and they are doing multiple superhero events.
Yeah. You're doing everybody. It's like DC, Marvel. Everybody is Captain Marvel, Shazam. Mm-hmm. Batman's going to show up. So it's pretty cool what this guy is doing for his family.
And so, what we're doing too is that because it is a DC and Marvel combination, all the superheroes now come under the direction of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so.
for the purpose of this thing, for the purpose of this event. Well, anyway, so that's why we have the car, and it's been fun playing around in it. But we're going to do the movie. We actually went to the movie in this vehicle. Yes. With our S.H.I.E.L.D. Logos on it.
Yeah, with our logos and our flashing red and blue light.
Our flashing red and blue police light, which is off now. But, so what did you think of Avengers Endgame?
I absolutely loved it.
Loved it. Ah.
Yes. And from what I've gathered from other people who've seen it, who for the most part have not been MCU fans, they might have seen just a couple of movies and stuff like that. They actually love this movie as a standalone movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I guess you could. You know, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very good. And I was shocked because it ties up a lot of story arcs. In fact, it makes all of the Avengers movies that have come out one big story arc and ties it up really nicely, which I don't think I've ever seen any film franchise do it with that many movies.
Yeah, because now, at first I said, now there was no way that they could have planned this over a 10, 11-year period,
you know,
and then come around and tie it up like this.
Yes.
You know, and when you look at each movie, you can see that there are little things that probably went in a different direction than what the end tie-up did.
Okay.
But you could also tell that, no, there was somebody who was genius behind this.
Yeah, there was somebody who had a vision, who had a story arc just an incredible story arc, really, to pull off, you know.
Oh, yeah. And if they somehow didn't, but which they did pretty much, they stuck to the source material.
Okay.
And they stuck to only the stories that would bring them from beginning to end. And
it's like bringing in the characters that they would need to tell that particular story arc from the source material.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the characters, like, they all got their focus, you know. The ones that needed to be focused on the most were, and the ones that they were glad to see them and didn't get as much time in this movie. But it was enough, because that's just how long, that's just their amount of time they've been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is equivalent to the amount of time they've got in this movie. I think amount of attention they got in this movie. So it's like, oh, it's just enough of that person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of them in their own Marvel movies. So.
Well, I'm not just. I'm looking forward to a couple of more Marvel movies. So far as some of the Avengers, they still want to,
bring in,
finish them up.
Okay, finish their arc.
Yeah,
so,
but they are going to bring in, of course, new Avengers and bring them in. And I stayed away from the internet and from a lot of stuff that would tell me what would happen. Yeah. And because I am older, but when I stopped reading comics, there was a lot more story that was told that I was able to fall right into.
Oh, okay. You're able to catch up using this, because
just using
you knew the launch.
I knew the launch.
what they were launching from, basically.
And but there was some things in this movie I just was not ready for.
There are a lot of surprising, shocking events in this movie that we can't spoil. You just have to see it. Don't go in knowing anything about this movie.
Yes,
I recommend highly.
Yeah, the least, if you just know what you've seen on film, you're great. Just go in. Don't search out anything.
The trailer doesn't give away anything.
No, the trailer didn't give away anything.
Good job on the trailers, guys. So, and it packs a punch. This one packs a punch.
It really does.
Yeah, an emotional punch.
It
but
does.
It also, I can't believe how well they ended. Pretty much, I was satisfied with how everyone's story ended, I think.
And, something that they did in all of the Marvel movies that they really tied up well in this movie, and it's something that is incredibly hard to do, at least other people have found it incredibly hard to do in other movies, and that is to tell a fictional characters, have the action that they did, and also tell a love story.
Okay.
And
I thought they did that. Yeah.
And I think you'll find in this movie that you start to find out how much love you have for some of those characters. I
think so. You know what? I came out of the movie and I was like, I enjoyed that. I was like, wow, I was impressed. But then the next day, it's like, I got really sentimental about it. And like, oh man, I want to go see that again. I'm just really like into these characters now in a way that, I could see why other people have loved these characters for such a long time. And now it's like, I love these characters for, and stuff. And that I want to go see them again. And maybe if I want to go back through all the movies now and look at them. And now that there's a definite story arc going on.
Oh, yeah. I know, even though I stayed away from the internet and media, and as soon as people knew something, they said, hey, and I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I did start hearing some of the rumors on who might not end up being in here and stuff like this, and wow, I got a gut punch.
You got a gut punch. You weren't expecting.
Man.
I have to say, I was expecting at least one of them. It still hit me emotionally, though.
Yeah.
And I was only expecting it just because I like to read Hollywood gossip stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah. And, just about the negotiations and behind the scenes and stuff. So I kind of figured that was coming, but it was still, I had one eye, some tears were coming down. And but it's, I love when movies take chances like that. Not to say in the future we are talking about a genre which can alter things in the future and figure out some way to do that.
Right.
But anyway, but yeah, it was just really effective and really got me. It really got me. I do want to bring up two things. I mean, there's two things. One thing bugged me in the movie, and another thing, it's a plot device that they go to for this to solve the problem that Infinity Wars creates. Is like what's the resolution going to be? And it's kind of a standard type of plot device to go to, and it's a very tricky one, because once you start thinking of it, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. So I don't know if we want to get into and say what it is. I kind of don't. But it's kind of like, how do you think they handle that element? You know what I'm talking about, right? How they solve the problem of getting the Infinity Stones, basically.
Right.
What they had to use.
Yeah. There are so many things in this movie that are like that. That. Okay. Well, how did this? When you're coming out and you're trying to figure out things. But I do think that they put little things in there to kind of say, well, they're not explaining it,
right?
But they're kind of saying, well, this kind of explains it, so you can kind of...
Well, yeah, they give their own explanation of it, but it's something, like I said, it's a standard type of plot device movie. Lots of movies. There are whole movies based on this. It's like because growing up, it's like, well, how are they going to figure this out? And I think a lot of people were saying, oh, well, based on the comic books, is like the people are going to be in. I think they're going to be in this stone or this. It's going. I was thinking there was something in the comic books that would. I'm thinking they fell back on this thing. I was like, I was a little disappointed that they are using that.
Well, you know what? I don't think that's giving away anything. But if you think you haven't seen it, I don't know who hasn't seen it.
Okay.
Because the movie made what, like $1.5 billion in the first week. So I think everybody's But I guess we can go a little bit into it, but if you haven't seen the movie and you're thinking that we might spoil something for you,
stop right now watching this and wait till you see the movie and then come back. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Movie spoiler, maybe.
Movies, maybe. So the time travel thing is what I was kind of a little disappointed that they're going to solve it by time travel. Really, that's always tricky. There's always There's always some kind of thing that doesn't make sense.
But you know what?
And they kind of played with a lot of movie time travel theories that have in different movies, like and
I love that they mentioned them.
That kind of like softened the blow. It's like, oh no, okay, we're gonna go here, and we all know about the controversy like this with this movie and its time travel concept that. This doesn't make sense. While this movie and its time travel concept, here's this element that doesn't make sense if you use that. So they play with that too. And do they?
Well, the thing is, I think it has. When they talk about that, it hasn't been anything that man hasn't talked about.
Yeah.
So it's not anything new.
Yeah. But that's my point, though. It's not anything new. It's like, you got this really, we couldn't figure out something new.
The problems of time travel.
Okay. Because there's a time stone.
Right.
There's a time stone, and a lot of people were talking about the soul stone prior to this. It's like, it's going to be something involved with that. So.
Well, I think from Infinity Wars and everybody talking about Infinity Wars, who's actually seen it, so this isn't a spoiler. I think that the final resting place was that everybody was in the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So.
Also, they were in there until using that to release them, kind of thing.
Exactly,
like
until you could use, because they go to the Soul Stone, but as soon as you snap your fingers, you're back out.
Okay.
So,
well, why not? Well, I guess you did. That's what he.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
yeah. So
I
you
didn't
had
say
to
who
go
did, but
back in time
to
in
get
order
the stones.
to
I
get
got
the
the stones, right? So
before,
they used the time travel to figure out a way how to get the stones again.
right.
Because yeah, now I'm revealing too much of the plot,
But
and I don't want to go any further
Yeah.
than that.
But
So-
I think they handled the time travel really well.
Okay.
But they set up the way that they were going to handle it by saying, here's all the problems,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't do this. And then I thought they brilliantly
Mm-hmm.
handled it with the time stone owners
Okay.
by by that owner saying,
Oh,
here's the thing, that you guys probably never thought of, about this is what you have to do after you finish doing what you're doing.
okay. Yeah, they said that. Yeah, I
And
was
it
okay
was
with
just
that.
like,
I mean, there's
wow,
always
that's right.
with time travel. There's always going to be some kind of paradox that comes up, and
Right.
you know, I was completely happy with the whole resolution to it, even though I was like, oh, okay, time travel, but you know, I'm totally happy, especially for certain characters that it affects in the end and stuff, because I'm like a huge fan of those characters and followed some of the properties outside of the cinematic universe that covered
Right.
some of those characters. I was a huge fan of that, so to see that being part of the resolution, I was like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I was happy with that, and you can go in and other people will parse this and we'll do it like in a spoilery way. We can,
Right.
if we want to figure out time travel or something
Right.
like that. But the other thing, the other controversial thing for me that I wanted to bring up, and I mentioned it after we saw the movie when we were driving, taking the van back to home, was just a minor thing, but a major thing. I just read an article in the past year, a lot of women scientists saying when they're in meetings, you know, with their colleagues and things, it's always assumed that they'll take the notes. Like, it's just all the men look at them like, it's like, I'm a scientist like you. Why you expect me to be the secretary?
Right.
So there's a little scene that the Avengers, the group on Earth, are trying to figure out something. I think they're trying to figure out something with the time travel, and freaking Natasha's taking the notes. I'm like, dude, oh no, what? You know, and it's a little thing, but it's a big thing, you know, because
Right.
she's equivalent. Why is she stuck in the secretary role? Why
Right.
couldn't have been Thor or you
Right.
know, someone else? You know, and that's because there's a lot of women, a lot of professional women, executives, scientists that get pushed into this assistant level when they're among their colleagues and they're doing discussions in which notes need to be taken. None of the men will volunteer to do it.
Okay, you want to know why? Because you guys are better than us.
That's a bullshit answer. All right.
No. Well, and I'm a bullshitter. But
That's a bit. I can understand it because I can see us being more detail oriented
no,
and getting stuff down.
but that is the thing, is that you guys are more detail orientated, and
But that's not necessarily true. That's kind of. I mean, there can be a guy out there who's.
oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
no, but
So-
I mean, just generally, as the female's makeup, she will be that way, and she will not discard something. It will all go down and will all be thought about. Men.
Well, you guys just need
Me.
to know how to take better notes.
No, it's not.
You do.
It's not just so much
You
as
need to
notes.
learn that.
If
You
I'm
need to like.
when I'm doing my props and stuff like that,
Right.
another guy might come to me and say, "Oh, this, that," and I don't mean guy. I mean guys or girls may come.
Okay.
Oh, you may need to do this, and this, and I will. Oh yeah. Then as soon as they turn around, and I'm doing what I'm doing. A female, for the most part, will not do that. At least she will think this through and see if that works.
You guys need to think shit through better.
But that's what I'm saying is that
don't play it off on it's my biology. Then I mean,
actually,
if you got the criticism and like if that was considered detrimental, I mean, guys, they're allowed to get away with certain shit too.
Yes.
So, as culturally and societally, you're allowed to because it's a guy, I'll ignore that. It's like if they had called you guys on it more, then you would learn to do that. It's like, oh, let me do that then because this shit doesn't fly anymore. You know?
And you're right. So now.
So I'm sticking to my point. I don't care.
No. I think you're right.
Because we let you guys. You're like, I'm not going to get criticized for that, but
exactly. And that's why we are now in that position of let her take the notes.
Yeah, but I'm not taking. You got to take it. Take your own damn notes.
It is virtually and very much a macho. We don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And if it ended up being detrimental to you, and if you guys got called on it and it hurt, whatever if it affected you, if people didn't just blow it off, guys didn't just blow it off, you'd focus more on that, and you're like, oh, I better take better notes.
Oh,
yeah,
exactly.
So we go.
I mean,
there we go.
Yeah, but just to get away but stay in it. That is why more women in the space industry did better, and we as America did better going to space, and that's because more women were able to participate and show us what to do and where we were going wrong. Whereas Russia, because of their cultural background, said "niet" to women and a lot of their input. And that's why we were more successful, I think.
Oh, and because we gave women an inch where they gave them a centimeter, basically. So let's call this one. Let's get back into the movie because I don't want to get in the whole political or feminist debate about this, but that's bullshit. Anyway, so Avengers Endgame, absolutely go see it. I wanted to talk about the final battle scenes. I was impressed with, and which is hard. I have a hard time with a lot because it's just stuff moving constantly in masses, and they finally this movie I finally felt like they made the focus. They kind of slowed down the action a little bit, so you could see the characters going in and doing their action, and then before spilling off to another character. I think in Civil War and the airport battle scene, they kind of did this, but I think finally they're doing this so you can see the action a lot better rather than it's just constant movement. And I wish more movies did this.
Yeah, and mainly and we've discussed it before in what is that? Transformers. They just do a lot of movement and stuff like that, and it's the CG. They just do a lot of movement, and it's just blurry. But here
it just moved. They move it so fast. They're like, oh, look how cool! It's like thinking faster is always better, or more is always better, and it's like no. It's like we were talking today about music. You were talking about a certain song that. When you hear it on the radio and it's just a smidgen faster, it doesn't sound right. Right. And it's like, things are meant to be, you get a certain feel at a certain tempo. And I think that's the same with action. You feel it more when you tend to slow things down.
Yeah, and like with this movie, and I would have to say with almost all of the Marvel movies, they went at a pace, and I would have really loved to see a lot of their storyboarding for all of these. Yeah. Not just this one, because they did attention to detail. They said, okay, this is what we would see behind the person. Whereas I think a lot of other movies just said, oh yeah, we might have seen all that, but let's move it real fast so that we don't have to worry about it.
Right, right.
And I think Marvel and Disney said, no, we need to see this.
Right. I also think how they framed the action, like, reminded me of comic book panels and things like that,
Right.
how those are, artists arrange things and stuff. And I noticed that in, like, Captain Marvel, some of that action scenes from that, they did the same thing. It was, like, really cool looking. So it brought you that, that
Right.
great feeling of actually looking at the comic book and the artwork in it, how they framed some of the action in that. So
Right.
really good stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you haven't gone to see Endgames,
What are you
please
waiting
go.
for?
Yeah, I mean, oh my God. You have to go see it. You have to go see it.
Yeah.
If, and again, here's a feminist thing.
Okay. There's a moment.
If you are a man and your girl hasn't seen it, see, that's the girls though.
Okay.
So, yes, take her to see it, but maybe you should go first and then go take her to see it a second time.
So you can cry through the movie, right?
Yeah.
Without your girl, you can.
Yeah, so you'll already be
you get your
out
tears
of it,
out.
so you can get your tears
out, then when you're with your girl.
Because the movie, when we went to see it, like I said, I wasn't ready, and I think that cinema has a beautiful ceiling, and it with most movies, just looking up at the ceiling is enough. This one wasn't, and I was okay. I got allergies. I'm thinking of everything. That's right. We're here to watch this movie.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, don't do this to me.
Oh.
And then there was a part where they had this sad part. And I got my cry on, and I got all dry. And as soon as I got dried up, they did it again. And I was sitting there going, damn you, Marvel.
Oh. So,
So.
Avengers Endgame, man. Go see it. Go see it again. I got to see it again. Let's fire up the car. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna go see it again.
Yeah, fire it up.
So.
We really out. We out. We out.
Yeah, we're out.
Peace, y'all.
That's good.
Oh, the light didn't come on.
Oh, I know. I was looking.
Oh, shoot. Did I knock it out?
No, I think I turned it off.
Oh, okay.
Let's watch now.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we out.
Now we out.
We got the light on.
Yeah, that was a good one.